All right, we got big news out of the Supreme Court today. The court has struck down the congressional map because of race. I'm going to explain what this actually means. Here's the background. Democrats have openly drawn majority black congressional districts, arguing that the Voting Rights Act required it in order to prevent black voting power from being diluted across multiple districts. The logic here is pretty simple. Black voters vote overwhelmingly Democratic, so when you draw a majority black district, you're also drawing a majority Democratic district. Those two things are the same district in practice. Now, Republicans argue that Democrats are using racial framing to make partisan power grabs legally and morally untouchable, that invoking the Voting Rights Act puts partisan maps beyond challenge in a way that pure partisan gerrymandering claims would not be. And for 40 years, the Voting Rights Act forced the issue because the legal standard asked about electoral outcomes for minority voters, not legislative motive. Today's ruling essentially validates the Republican legal argument on that specific point. A Republican legislature can now argue that it drew maps for partisan advantage, not racial reasons, and under the new standard, that defense largely works. Anybody that's now a plaintiff bringing a legal challenge now has to prove that race was the driving factor, not politics. But when race and party are this correlated, separating them is nearly impossible by design. There's also a vice closing from the other direction. Under the 14th Amendment, a state cannot make race the predominant factor in drawing a district without a compelling legal justification. Louisiana tried to create a second majority black district because a court told them that the Voting Rights Act required it. The Supreme Court said it didn't, so there was no justification, making the map unconstitutional. The result is a legal trap. Drawing districts to help minority voters is now constitutionally suspect, but failing to draw them is now largely immune from legal challenge. So states can argue that any map is partisan, and the Voting Rights Act now offers very little recourse. Today's decision by the court did not make race and redistricting illegal. It made challenging maps that ignore race nearly impossible.